recording, and then I'm going to share screen. Okay, so today we will start with new unit. It's about pandas. It's about pandas. So this is a package. It's very, very powerful. And in machine learning, you're going to use a lot. And so this package, the major data we will use in this package is, we call it a data frame. And we will see it's very flexible, okay? It's not like a NumPy. NumPy, it's homogeneous. This is a heterogeneous. Very powerful, okay, to play around, do data analysis, and plus further, our focus is on machine learning, but we need to do a lot of pre-processing work. Then in that case, we use pandas, okay? And in machine learning, we also going to use NumPy, okay? And later on, we will also learn the plotting matplotlib package. So today we will start with a new unit about pandas. Okay, so let's first take a look. So in pandas, the very first thing is about series. Okay, series. So series, and over here you call, we import pandas as PD. So this refers to pandas. And then we call the series function. Within it, we plug in a list. This is a list, is it? And this np.name. So this represents the null value, okay, in NP, okay, NumPy. So we have this list, and then we are going to convert it to, in pandas, we call it a series. Okay, so it's kind of like some data structure used to store a collection of items, but we need to be careful here as it has some index. Okay, and in pandas, in this series, because we didn't specify index, later on we can also see, you can also specify index. This is just going to be default integer index. Okay, index. And so what is series? Series is that it's one-dimensional. Be careful, it's one-dimensional, okay? But be careful, it's called a labeled array. So it's not just a NumPy array, okay? NumPy array, you don't have label. But over here, we have label, okay? So this is a labeled array. So if we take a look at the output, output looks like this. You see, this is a list of values, is it? List of values. And over here, we have label. And this is default because we didn't specify. Okay, we didn't specify. So this is default, okay, default label. So that's why we say series is one-dimension label array, okay. So that's the general idea about series. So next, let's see, there are a lot of other interesting things about series. So once we have series, how do we access individual item in series, or a region or a section of items? Okay, or a range of items. How do we do that? So first, let's take a look. This is, we familiar, is the np.array use. So we have a list. This is a list of string, and you convert it to NumPy array, And then you see here, we call the pd.series. We specify data. So that's NumPy array. But the second parameter is what? It's index. So this is for the index, okay? And what it has is a list of string, So basically, if you specify index, it will override the default integer index. So what we will have is, instead of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, is it? You're going to have A, B, C, D, E, F. And the corresponding value will be 1, 2, 3, and 5, 6, 7. Is it? So this serves as index now. This is index, and this is your series value, okay, the value part. Okay, so be careful. And then how can we access an element? Is it? Then you can use the label. Is it? So here you just do the series and specify the label. So this is, you specify label. Is it? Then you can get the items. Okay, so this is how do we get items out from label index. And next, let's see. I remember last class we also see the CSV file. Basically, this whole semester we are going to deal with CSV file. I'm not sure who still remember the name. Okay, it's comma separated value, is it? So it's a plain text file. Okay, not a structure. Is it a CSV file? So over here we have a CSV file. It's regarding NBA athletics information. The name of the athletic, which team, and the number and the position, age, height, weight, college salary. Is it? We have this CSV file. Is it? And basically, it's kind of like in Excel. It's a table. Is it? This file, if you import it into Excel, it's a table. So it's some two-dimensional information. Is it? And we have different fields. Is it? These are columns here. We call columns, is it? And this is rows, is it? And each row is one record, is it? One record. So that's about the CSV file, is it? And in Pandas, after we learn this, then we don't need to do that complicated. You remember last class toward the end, we discussed that example, is it, to deal with CSV file? Then it's very, very simple, okay? So with Pandas, you just call read CSV. Okay, read CSV. Then it will import everything and store it to a, so what over here, it will return. It's a data frame. Okay, and the previous, what we just learned today is a series. The series is 1D, okay, labeled array. Okay, and data frame is more than 1D, is it? And it has multiple dimension, okay. And so in this case, this is just a 2-dimension, is it? So anyway, it's we call it a data frame, okay, data frame. So it has rows and columns, is it? And we don't call it, and over here, we still call it index. And here, because we didn't specify index, this is still the default index. You can also, later on we will see, you can also specify a label index, okay? So anyway, so whatever it returns over here, something looks like this, this is called a data frame, okay? And in Pandas, for the data frame, if you call the dot head function, then you will get the first couple of records. Is it over here? It shows the first 5 records. Okay, so that you can get some idea about how your data look like. Is it? Okay, then let's move on. Okay, so over here we have that data frame. Is it? So this is our data frame. Is it? And if you want to get some column out. Is it over here? You want supposed to get off this name column out. You just specify the name. Okay. So over here, did you see over here? So this is also different from NumPy. NumPy, we don't have this part. Is it? So this is names of the columns. Is it? It also has, not like NumPy, you just have the array part, is it? But here, did you see, you kind of have the header part for all of the fields, is it? But what we call is the name of the column. After you have the name, then you can use the name, is it, to access a specific column, is it specific column? And so series, you can also use a certain column to build a series, is it? And you can specify certain number of the item from the series. So in this case, the top 10, is it? So here to list the top 10 items. Okay, so that's, and what next over here, we need to be very careful, okay? So you may see this looks familiar. Is it? We all know. Is it colon in NumPy array in list? Is it? Is called what? Slicing. Is it? Slicing is you can get a range of items out. Is it? So here is specify. This says from 3 to 6. Is it? So 3 to 6, let's see. Okay, so it gets what is 3, 4, 5. Is it? So it gets from here to here. Is it? From here to here. Okay, so here it gets, so this is 0, 1, 2, 3. Is it 3 to 5? Is it? So that's, you can slice out so this is sliced out regarding this series. Okay, later on we will see more complicated cases. So next, let's see. So we have a different ways. So this is going to be interesting, okay? And over here we have this Pandas series, is it? And all of the values are going to be net, is it? Net. And this is going to be its index integer value. So we need to be careful, okay? So 49, this is index. Index not start at 0 here. Okay, it's start at whatever you specify. Is it? You want it to start at 49. Is it? So this is index. Is it? Because here you specify. You assign this list of integer value to this series. Is it? Using it as index. Is it? And 1, 2, 3, you can see it's after of those 49, 48 numbers. Is it? And over here, we have a function called dot location, is it? So dot lock function. So dot lock function says selects data by getting row or column. Be careful, okay? It's particular labels from the index. Okay, it's the labels from the index. So what here is slice to where? Is it? So if we take if you take a look, if you still can see the previous one, data slicing, that's also slicing, is it? That's through to 6, is it? Over there, it's regarding the default index, is it? But here we have this specify index, is it? So this location, it use label index. So this is not to the third one, is it? It is what? It is slice to label 3. Okay, label. And also be careful, it's including. Okay, so there's this subtle difference. Previous one, did you see slice to 6? 6 is not included, is it? And here with this dot lock, it's included. And this is label. So that's how you see it will slice all the way to here, Is it? This is the label, okay? So be very careful here. And then if you take a look at it over here, the data, then you call the data log. Is it? Previous we call this data 3, 6. This is still follow what we learned before, is it? But over here, did you see if you call the data log as 3 to 6, is it? So 6 is included because over here to use label, it's including 6, okay? So just be careful about the subtle difference when you use that. And there is another function called ilog. Be careful, it's called ilog function. Okay, this ilog, it select data by what? Over here it said by position. Okay, by position. So let's see. Then in this case, that's regarding that series. Is it that series is start the index, the label index. Start at 49, 48, 47, is it 46, 45, then 3, 5, 6, something, is it? And over here it has those nav values, is it? That's what that S series is it? So it uses the ilog, and ilog then over here, is it? Then it's going to use its label. It's going to use ilog use position. Okay, this is regarding position, not label. So then this means the first 3. So it means you will get the first top 3 items. Okay, so we need to be careful here. And then for this ilog, 326 regarding the data, is it? Then it's similar as what you just did, data 3, 6. Is it? It's the same. Okay, so this is excluded. Okay. So there are just a number of ways you can play around with data. Okay. So what the next cell discuss is about how to convert data. So convert that, change data type of series. Okay, how do we do that? So we still deal with that MBA CSV file, is it? And this one also quite useful, the drop NA, okay, in Pandas data frame. So for data frame, so this is on data frame, is it? You drop NA, what does that mean? That means you drop all null values, okay? Which columns? The null value column, is it? Because later on we will see in machine learning, we don't need the null values, is it? And also here, for this parameter in place, if you set it true, is it? It will work on the original data itself, okay? And then here, if you want to know what the data types are, you can call the data D types. Okay, D type. So we store the data type information in the before, okay? And then later on, we convert, is it? For the column, for salary column, we convert it to integer. For number column, we convert it to string. Okay, to string. And then we call after, is it? And then let's see what's the data type. So before salary and the number, is it? So salary is here. Before salary data is float 64, is it? And the number is also float 64, is it? That's before. And after we do conversion, number convert to what? Object, is it? And the salary convert to what? To integer, is it? So yeah, so you can use that as type function to do data type conversion, okay? Because that's used a lot in machine learning, okay? Machine learning, we mostly use numerical data, is it? So A lot of time we need to do data conversion. So next, let's see the date time index. That's also used quite often, okay? And here, if you take a look regarding column, you can also label column, okay, as what we learned before, is it? For the CSV, the NBA CSV file. Okay, so first let's take a look over here. This function called date range. Be careful, it's called date range function, okay? And you specify the specific date. So this is 2013, January 1st, is it? And the range is you want to have 6 days, is it? So what are the dates we have? Looks like this, is it? So that's the date part. The dates part of, that's the series. Okay, that's a series. And then for data frame, you can also specifically call. So we can call that read CSV function, is it to plug in a CSV file to get a data frame, okay? You can also call this data frame function, okay? And over here, we specify, so NumPy random number, is it 6 by 4? So 6 row, 4 column, 2-dimensional array, is it? And here, be careful, okay? This is also very useful. You specifically specify the dates. Is it date series? Is it as index? Is it? And what? And a list of string as the column header. Is it? So that's how the dates, did you see? The date series becomes the label, is it, for index? And here, is it, the list of string becomes the label for columns. Is it? Yeah, so that's the of the information here. You can specify the index and the columns. Okay, then next, let's see. We can create data frame, is it? And the previous shows use NumPy, the random number generation, is it? And we can also create data frame with what? With passive dictionary of objects. Okay, dictionary of objects. So let's see. So here, data frame function, is it? Okay, so here we have the dictionary, is it? So dictionary key and the value, key and the value, key and the value, is it? And we can also see the value part is not the same type, is it? You have numerical, you have times stamp, you have series, is it? You can also have array and categorical data. So this Panda categorical, is it categorical? So this is categorical data. Okay, later on we will also see in machine learning, okay, how to deal with this categorical data. So anyway, this is a string, is it? And if we take a look at the result, you will find, is it? So over here, is it all of the key from the dictionary go to where? So keys go to column labels. Is it? They become the labels for the column. Is it? And then we have the data. But you may see the first one just has a single data. Is it? And some of them over here, we have 4. This C, we have 4. C, we have 4. Is it? And the D, we also have 4. Is it? And the E, we also have 4. And of the other, just have 1. But you can also see when it create the data frame, it automatically fill of the remaining values with mapping the corresponding other dictionaries values. Okay, but anyway, here you see if you use dictionary to create data frame, the key can go to the column label. Okay, and what next? Let's see, DF. Okay, so this is go back to that. So that DF, okay, that DF is a random number. You remember 6 by 4, I remember. Is it 6 by 4, a random numbers. And here you can call head method to, here is that you can view the top and the bottom rows of the data frame. How do we do that? You can call head method. Okay, so it will give you a glimpse of the whole data frame, how it looks like, what the structure looks like. Is it? You can also call tail method. Is it? Specify how many rows you want to see. Is it? So this is regarding how we view from top and the bottom rows of the data frame. And then next, let's see. And you can also get index columns, is it? And it says underlying NumPy data, is it? So to get index, you just call dot index, is it? And here to give you, and also give you type, is it? Says it's date time, is it? And the frequency is day, is it in this case? And the column is it A, B, C, D. And the type is object, is it? And the value is the NumPy random number they generated. Okay, so this is just because when we do machine learning or data analysis, a lot of it you want to get a glimpse of the data. Is it because sometimes the data may be huge. There is no way you can see one by one, is it? So if you do all of this, is it head, tail, index, column, value, certain number, then you get some idea, basic idea how your data looks like, is it? And then next, let's see. And there is another quite useful function called describe function. Okay, describe function gives us what? It gives a statistic summary of our data. It's also quite useful, is it? It gives you totally how many items in your data frame, in your data set, is it? The mean value of all of the corresponding column, is it? Standard deviation, minimum, maximum, is it? Top 25 quantile, top 50 quantile, top 75 quantile, is it? The data, is it? So you get some basic idea about your data status summary report. Okay, and we can also, you can also switch row and column, is it? So in math matrix, is it? You learn the transpose. It's a similar concept. So if you want to transpose your data, is it with our data frame, you just call that specific data frame, then dot T, is it? Then did you see the column label change to index and the index label change to column, is it? Because sometimes you may want to do this transpose, is it? Yeah, so that's regarding the transpose header, we already know. And then next, let's see, over here, we can also do sort index, okay? So this sort index is sort by the index label, okay? And over here we specify this is the second dimension. This is similar as we learned before. The axis 0 is first dimension, second dimension is it. So this means you're going to sort the index of the second dimension in what? In descending order, because you set ascending as a fourth. Is it in descending order? That's why, because previously it's A, B, C, D. Is it A, B, C, D? That's the second dimension as a column, second dimension index as a second dimension label, is it? And because you're going to do descending, so that's how it changed to DCBA, is it? And this is only regarding that dimension label, okay, label. And of course, the corresponding value will also change, is it? So this is sort index. And then over here, let's see. You can also sort value, is it? So if over here, we call sort value, this is value, and then you specify sort by which column, is it? So here you specify, okay, by column B, is it? And then if you see the result, it's rearranged by the order, is it? By the order in ascending order. Is it in ascending order by this specific column? Is it in ascending order? Okay, so you can pick if you want to sort by index or sort by the real data values. Okay, then you can call the different function. And then next, let's see, how do we access data? Is it previously we already learned the lock, I lock, is it? Over here it says you can also call at, I at. So what all of this means, is it? And then let's see, the data frame. So this data frame is still regarding that, so the label, the index label is date time, that you remember. And this is column label, is it? And over here, let's see. And previously we also learned, is it, in generally speaking, this square brackets, is it within square brackets, and we can have comma, is it? And we can also have colon, is it? And generally speaking, what does colon mean? Colon means slicing, is it? Comma, then for which dimension, is it? And you specify individual number, then that's what? This is indexing. Indexing, is it? Indexing for second dimension, is it? And this means slicing for first dimension, is it? Okay, and then let's see over here, okay. Over here, you see, you just plug in with another brackets, is it? Another brackets. Another brackets, and over here to specify A and B, is it? A and B. Okay, so what this means, it means it want to pick out column A and column B from that data frame. Okay, so it specifies specific column, is it? And then let's see over here, the lock, it calls a lock function, is it? The lock, and then over here, you just have, so be careful about the difference between these two. Let's first take a quick look. This is a DF value, is it? This is our DF, okay? So the DF is a random number and the date time and the column, okay? And then over here, the first one is some outer brackets, is it? So anyway, this is for some selection, is it? And then you have inner brackets, is it? Last time in NumPy array, what we learned, this is what? This is something looks like list, is it? This is called what? Indexing array, is it? Is it? So it is for you to specify the index, is it? So that's why over here you have two brackets. And be careful the lock, that we only have a single bracket. Is it? With a single brackets, you have this comma. Is it? The comma, the first one is date time. Is it? From the from 02 to 04. Is it? And previously we also said with lock. Is it? It's included when you do slicing. Is it? And this slicing using label. Is it? Using label. Is it? So that's how you get all of this. So 02, 03, 04. Is it? It's for first dimension. Is it? For first dimension. Okay, so by rows. And then for second dimension, says, okay, I want also slicing. Is it? A to C. Is it? So column A, column B, and column C. So second dimension, you also do slicing. Is it? So you're going to pick those three columns. That's how you get all of those data, okay? And then next, let's see this DF. Is it a DF? And directly you specify the date time indexing. It's 02, 03, 04. Is it? 3 rows. You didn't specify the second dimension. That means everyone from second dimension. Is it? Yeah. So that's regarding this two. And then next, what it shows. Selection by label is a get cross section using label, okay, from our NBA data, is it? And here says the index column, is it? You're going to use name this time. We change, don't use the default, is it? So this time, the name becomes index. This is our index, is it? And this are columns. Is it? Okay, then let's see. And you can call the dot log. Is it dot log? You specify the people's name. Is it? So that means you're going to get the first record. Is it? And here you specify the other person. So you're going to get this record. Is it? So you specify. So in CSV file, is it? Once you import the CSV file, then if you want, you can also specify which column is going to be the index, serves as a label for the index. In this case, it uses the name column, is it? For the label of the index. Then after that, it's quite interesting. Is it? Then you can pick the specific row with the lattice name, is it? Yeah, so it's quite useful, we can see here. And then next, let's see, DF, and is DF, this called data. So DF is still our original, okay? So DF is still our original, that random number, is it? Random number. Okay, and then it called print dates. And dates previously, it's those date time. Is it? Date time is index. And then you specify the 01. Is it 0? So that's what? That's the first one. Is it? The first one. Is it? From the dates. Is it? From the dates. And with that, then you said, okay, I want to find that corresponding record. Is it? Then you can call dot locate and use that date. Is it? That gives you this first record. Is it? First record. So here it just shows you multiple ways. So you can use multiple different ways to do your selection. So it's quite flexible, okay? And then next, let's see. We can also select on multi-axis by label. Is it? So here you show First dimension, everything, is it? Second dimension, it's within a brackets, so that's a specific columns, is it? And then let's see more. And over here, is it? So first dimension, slicing, second dimension, because you have brackets, so that's a specific column you select, is it? And over here, this is similar as the previous. This is you only select. So for the first dimension, you also do indexing. The second dimension also do indexing. Okay, so both in that dimension you do indexing. And what the at means? At is sets fast access to scalar. Okay, so it's faster. Okay, so here you do indexing for first dimension, second dimension, you also do indexing, etc. And iLock we already learned, etc. iLock it's selected by position, okay. And then next, over here, use iLock. You can also do first dimension slicing, second dimension, it's also slicing, etc. And over here for the iLock, is it? We use a list of integer, as a list of integer, is it? And this is what? This is multi-items indexing, is it? So this is first dimension, you do indexing, second dimension, you also do indexing, okay, not slicing. So we need to be very careful here, subtle difference. And here it's the first dimension, you do slicing, second dimension, you also do slicing, is it? And you can also slice in column, is it? So nothing new here. And like previously said, use I at, is it? It's position, okay. iLock is position, I at is also position, but the advantage of it is it's faster, okay. If you use I at, okay, it's faster. Okay, and I think that's because we kind of run out of time. So that's